Namaste, everyone. Here is another pose breakdown, and this is a shout out for Denise from Michigan. She wanted some tips on Trikonasana triangle pose. So the preparatory poses that I like to do for Trikonasana are Uttanasana, standing forward bend. Typically when we're teaching Trikonasana in the very beginning, we're teaching it to beginner students. So I brought a chair, I brought a strap to do just very sort of elementary work that can be used as preparatory poses for the triangle pose. And I like Uttanasana. The second one I like is actually Uttita Padangusthasana. And that is big toe pose, but we're going to do it with the chair today. And then Parshva, which is side big toe pose, and again, we're going to do it with the chair. And I'll talk about some of the skills and some of the challenges. What I hear, I mentioned it in the Ardha Chandrasana, the half moon balance breakdown, that what I hear a lot is people having a very hard time getting the front leg of the triangle pose to really line up. And as a result, kind of getting a little crunched up in the pelvis and in the lower back. So I'm going to show you how to do that today with the strap that helps you to keep some good alignment in the front leg. But let's start with the first preparatory poses that I would do. So the first one is the standing forward bend with the chair. And you know, if it's beginners that you're working with, for sure, and always consider yourself a beginner. I mean, really, this kind of work done with the props like this, elementary, but really nice because you can stay in the poses much longer. I'm kind of moving through them quickly so we can get the information out to you, but you can stay in these poses with the aids of the prop for a little bit longer period of time, which is really nice to get into the juice of the pose and the flexibility of the pose. So the Uttanasana, I'm going to start with my legs a little wider today than hip width distance apart. Not much, just a little bit. I'll hinge at the hips, bend the knees if necessary, otherwise legs are straight, and fold down. Now, even here, this may still be a little too, low for you or your students, so you can always just put additional props on top of this, like a bolster or stacked blankets or blocks. And I would stay here for a while. I'm feeling like I might be pushed back too much, so I moved my feet back just a little bit. I actually love doing it just like this. I would stay for a period of time to get the hamstrings to open up. And I would again focus, like what I talked about in the half moon pose, is keeping my weight on all four corners of the feet. Okay, so then I would go ahead and come on up and prepare myself for the Uttita Padangusthasana. So you can see I brought the chair and the blanket. I'm going to step kind of close to the chair and bring one leg up. And I've got my strap. And I'm going to take my strap and bring it around the ball of my foot. Be as upright as possible. Stand as tall as possible on the standing leg. And take the foot to the chair. And people ask me this all the time in this pose. What's the placement of the foot? Is it really strong dorsal flexion? Is it really strong plantar flexion? It's somewhere in the middle. And the reason is that what you're trying to do is get both sides of the ankle to stretch equally. You see, if you do this so much, this really shortens and compacts. You see, if you do this very, very much, this backside shortens and compacts. So somewhere in the middle, we can have a sense of ease on both front and back of the ankle, and then the toes still open, and a lift, and the shoulders roll away. And then the challenge is to, where can you go? Can you go a little further forward? Still keeping this flat back, right? And it doesn't really matter, where it is. And of course, if you don't need the strap, you can just grab a hold of the foot, pull the elbows out to the sides. But the tendency, even there, see, you saw my chin wants to go up, so just going to let that go down. Okay. Then I would move right into the next variation of this pose, which is side variation. So I'm just going to do it from here. I'm pulling my leg out just a little bit. Toes are forward. And then I'm going to grab a hold of that strap. Let me drop this so it doesn't clank so much. And now I'm working on the very particular skills of this thigh bone lining up at the knee, the shin, and between the big toe and second toe, and sucking the whole lifted leg up into the pelvis. So here's me sort of sinking and falling. And so I'm going to pull in. Do you see what happens? The tailbone goes down and I get this lift right away. I want to try to keep that because what lots of people do in triangle is this. they kind of curve in their spine, really strong sort of lateral flexion, right? You're still going to laterally flex, but with length. See how this bottom side of the waist, it needs to come up and forward, right? So that I'm not pushing my front ribs forward like this, right? Sending too much tension and compaction here. This is soft. I'm working my front leg into the pelvis, and then the top arm can come up. So it's kind of like a triangle pose, but sort of a short stance triangle pose. Okay, so now I'll get rid of the chair and show you the real triangle pose. So now I'm going to go ahead and go into the classical Trikonasana or triangle pose with real great focus on the front leg, lining up that thigh bone with the knee to the shin, and using a strap to help me with some of that alignment. So I've just made a circle in my strap, and I'm going to go, because my front leg's going to be my right leg, so I'm going to go ahead and bring the strap on top. I'll bring it right up to the very top with the that's called something, the tail of the strap pulled back behind me. And here's what's really awesome about this variation. I'm going to hold on to the tail of the strap with my opposite hand. And you see right away what that's going to do when I get into the triangle pose. Let's make sure that the tail of the strap is away so I don't trip on top of it. And now I'm stepping my leg out. Okay, so I have my heel to arch of the foot. Some people like heel to heel. That's okay, whatever works good for your body. You might find that you get different work in your pelvis and in your legs by changing your feet a little bit. And I'm going to look right now to see that my thigh, my knee, my shin, my second and third toes really lined up. But say I'm sort of here. For whatever reason, I have a tilted pelvis or I have tightness in the front groins or the adductors, and I'm going to pull on that strap. I'm going to use it to turn the thigh bone, not too much, just to turn it enough to get all that alignment going. I'm going to pull both the legs into the hips like I did before when my leg was on the chair. And look at this wonderful opening now I get in my back arm and the chest. Reach. Remember what I said on the chair. It's about getting the back waist, the bottom waist rather, to lengthen rather than getting, well, no, that this can go very far, right? It's trying about getting that bottom waist to lengthen without pushing the ribs forward. And then putting that hand wherever we like it. I know a lot of people struggle with this pose. And Denise, I hope that this is really helpful for you, but I have a very strong turnout in my right leg. So for me, using this strap is putting my weight onto my outer right foot, is causing some pain on the inside. So I'm going to let go of the strap. And I'm going to work on getting the ball of the foot to press down so that the inner leg starts engaging. You see, if I just pull my weight over to the outer side, I'll lose the whole inner side of the leg. So I'm going to press to that ball of the foot and wake up that area, and then take the rest of the pose. Back leg is a strong and straight leg and helps to support me in the pose. Triangle pose. Have fun, Denise. Let me know how it goes.